We are the men that lied about Brett Finnerty and sacrificed Brett Finnerty so that we would not go to jail for raping these women. We will never tell the truth. You cannot make us tell the truth. We are satisfied that Brett Finnerty is being punished so that we do not go to jail for our own crimes. We have made an agreement with the citizens and the police to lie to Brett Finnerty until Brett Finnerty is dead. We are the men who made an agreement with law enforcement so that we can be above the law. My name is Charles Ray. I called myself Tom Fuller while I was pretending to be a senior at Lone Grove, Oklahoma in the year 1988. I first met Brett Finnerty when Brett was in the second grade. I would watch over the children while they were on the playground. I was very mean to Woody Posey. I would hit Woody on the back of the head to knock his retainer out, and then I would laugh. Brett told on me and made it to where I could not watch over the children during recess in Medill, Oklahoma. I told Brett Finnerty that I was going to get him back for what he had done. I may not be responsible for all of the women that were harmed in this conspiracy, but I am responsible for helping to cover up the crimes which were committed against all of these women. I became a student at Lone Grove High School in the year 1988. I used the name of Tom Fuller. I told some of the students that I was 29 years old. I made sure that I became best friends with the person which was Brett Finnerty's closest friend, Kent Fondren. Due to me, Charles Ray, being a student at Lone Grove High School in 1988, I was able to meet the following people. What we have learned would be, if we surround a person with people who are in a conspiracy against this person, people lie to this person, people will pretend to be this person's friend. We can capitalize on this person's ideas and inventions, while this person has no idea that our intentions are to leave this person homeless and unable to work due to what we say about this person and due to what we do to this person. I, Charles Ray, helped to plot planting myself and people that we know into each corporation and city that Brett Finnerty has worked in every place that Brett Finnerty will travel. For instance, I, Charles Ray, was at Lone Grove High School in 1988. My dad dated a woman, Trudy, which worked for the Petroleum Engineering Department at the University of Texas in Austin. This just happens to be the same department in which Brett Finnerty had worked for from the year 1995 to the year 1997. I, Charles Ray, was at Alcatel Networks USA from 1997 to the year 2000. I, Charles Ray, was at DRS Infrared in the year 2005. Brett Finnerty worked at all of those locations while I was an employee at those companies. We made sure to surround Brett Finnerty with people which are in this conspiracy. If you will notice, many of the faces that you see at Alcatel work at other companies in which Brett Finnerty has had to work. You may also notice that some of the faces may have names which are not the true identity of that person. This is due to the fact that many of these people used fake names so that they would not be caught in this conspiracy against Brett Finnerty's life. We made sure to place Greg McGee at Signal Technology because Greg McGee was in the Carter County, Oklahoma area, while Brett Finnerty was in middle school. Greg McGee had sworn that he was going to teach Brett Finnerty a lesson while Brett was a young middle school student in Lone Grove, Oklahoma, 1983 to 1985 timeframe. Greg McGee had told Brett Finnerty that many of us have already planned out our futures. Greg McGee had told Brett Finnerty that Greg McGee was going to be king of the base stations. Greg McGee was Brett Finnerty's manager or upper manager from the year 2004 to the year 2016. We made sure to place other people inside of Motorola, which were affiliated with Carter County, Oklahoma, and the Carter County Police and Sheriff Departments. For instance, Lisa Frage looks a lot like a lady who was working at or managing the Ardmore Village in Ardmore, Oklahoma. Daniel Morelli was affiliated with the Carter County Police. Michael Eckert's real name is Chris Blunt. Chris Blunt is from the Carter County, Oklahoma area. Chris Blunt knows many people in Carter County, including people which are in the police and sheriff departments. Do not worry. We will never let Brett Finnerty be able to work in the field of electronics because Intel Corporation will send their employees to warn other corporations about employing Brett Finnerty. If Brett Finnerty were to get a job at any corporation, Intel Corporation will send an employee inside of the corporation to verify that Brett Finnerty is an employee of that corporation. Intel Corporation will threaten the corporation by warning them that if they do not fire Brett Finnerty, Intel Corporation will use their influence over the buyers to put that corporation out of business. A company cannot survive if a company does not have customers. Brett Finnerty was told that Intel Corporation used this very same tactic against AQS Incorporated in the year 2021. Brett Finnerty was employed at AQS Incorporated from July 2021 to December 2021. Brett Finnerty, saw Elora Paul walking inside AQS Incorporated in the year 2021. Brett Finnerty was told that Elora Paul was interviewing at AQS Incorporated. Brett Finnerty was also told that Elora Paul told them that she thought Intel Corporation would be interested in their FAB. Then I was told that Elora Paul used the threats from Intel Corporation to force AQS Incorporated to fire me. I was also told that AQS Incorporated tested to see if these threats were valid. AQS Incorporated noticed an immediate decline in customers. The other thing that Brett Finnerty has noticed, there was a person who was working at AQS Incorporated who called himself David Lim. I recognize this David Lim as a person who was working at this building from the year 2018 to the year 2019. This David Lim was a sushi chef. My ex-girlfriend, Han Wang, kept telling me that he was the best sushi chef and that she would only eat sushi that he made. I would bet that if I started searching Jenny Lim's Facebook friends, that I might find someone who looked a lot like David Lim. Jenny Lim knows the following people: Brett Finnerty, Kent Patterson, who was a police officer in the Austin, Texas area, Glenn Baum, my former manager at the University of Texas in Austin from 1995 to 1997, all of the people who played pool with me from the year 2010 to 2015, Dave Banks. I should also mention that Dave Banks knows people from Madill, Oklahoma, and Harvey Burkhart, who is a former Carter County sheriff from the year 2002. Has any person in law enforcement asked Stephen Gallo, who studied criminal law at LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the following question? Did your sister Carol Jean Gallo fake her death in the year 2016 to cover up the crimes of the Oklahoma police, the Texas police, her friends in Austin, Texas, Dave Banks, Harvey Burkhart, Intel Corporation, the other corporations involved, the engineers who worked at these corporations, and the guilty citizens of Austin, Texas, Ardmore, Oklahoma, Lone Grove, Oklahoma, Sulphur, Oklahoma, Ada, Oklahoma, Madill, Oklahoma, Carter County, Oklahoma, and the surrounding areas, McKinney, Texas, Plano, Texas, Dallas, Texas, and the surrounding areas, Irving, Texas, Round Rock, Texas, Austin, Texas, and the surrounding areas, Carol Jean Gallo's family and friends. Does anybody understand the definition of a conspiracy?